You're looking at something incredibly small, something most people would ignore without a second thought. But sometimes, the smallest objects carry the biggest stories. Right here in front of you is a 1996 1-cent coin from South Africa, and while it may appear simple at first glance, this tiny piece of metal holds a depth of history, meaning, and quiet significance that many never take the time to notice. Think about it for a moment. A single cent. The lowest denomination. The kind of coin that often gets lost in drawers, dropped on the street, or forgotten in old jars. Yet this very coin has traveled through time, passed from hand to hand, across markets, shops, and everyday lives. It has been part of countless unseen moments, small purchases, quick exchanges, decisions made in a split second. Each mark, each slight imperfection you see on its surface is not damage. It's evidence of a journey. Now take a closer look at its surface. The tone of the metal has changed over the years, developing that rich, aged appearance that only time can create. This is not something you can replicate artificially. It comes from years of exposure, from movement, from life. The texture you see, the subtle fading of details, all of it tells you that this coin has lived a real existence in the world, not locked away, not preserved in perfection, but used, touched, and experienced. The year stamped on it, 1996, is not just a number. It places this coin in a very specific moment in history. During that time, South Africa was undergoing transformation, redefining itself, stepping into a new era. Coins minted during such periods are more than currency. They become quiet witnesses to change. They carry the atmosphere of their time, the economic conditions, the social shifts, and the everyday rhythm of life in that place. Imagine where this coin might have been. It could have been used in a local market, exchanged for something simple like bread or fruit. It might have been part of someone's daily routine, a familiar object in their pocket. Perhaps it was saved, forgotten, rediscovered years later. Each possibility adds another layer to its story, making it unique in a way no modern, untouched coin could ever be. Collectors understand this in a way most people don't. They don't just see a coin, they see a timeline. They see context, rarity, and narrative. Even coins with low face value can become highly desirable when they represent a meaningful period or carry distinct characteristics. What makes a coin truly valuable is not always its metal or its denomination, but the story it carries and the interest it generates among those who appreciate such details. There is also something powerful about owning an object that has existed independently of you for decades. This coin was here long before it reached your hands, and it will continue to exist long after. That sense of continuity, of connection across time, is something that cannot be easily replaced. It turns a simple object into something almost symbolic, a link between past and present, and then there's the visual aspect. Even without deep knowledge of coins, you can appreciate the design, the way it was crafted, the intention behind its appearance. Every line, every detail was placed there deliberately. Over time, some of those details may soften, but that only adds to its authenticity. Perfection fades, but character grows stronger. In a world where most things are mass-produced and quickly replaced, something like this stands apart. It has endured. It has remained. It carries with it a sense of permanence that is increasingly rare. When you hold it, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a fragment of reality from another time. Now consider the psychological aspect of collecting. People are naturally drawn to objects that tell stories, that feel rare or meaningful. Even if millions of coins were produced, not all of them survive in the same way. Some are lost, some are damaged beyond recognition, and some, like this one, remain in a condition that still allows their story to be appreciated. That survival alone adds a layer of significance. There's also the idea of overlooked value. The things people ignore often become the things that surprise us the most later on. History has shown this again and again. Items once considered ordinary suddenly gain attention, not because they changed, but because people started to look at them differently. Perspective creates value as much as rarity does. Imagine showing this coin to someone who has never paid attention to such details. At first, they might dismiss it. But as you begin to explain its age, its origin, its journey, their perception starts to shift. Suddenly, it's no longer just a coin. It becomes interesting, even fascinating. That transformation in perception is powerful. And it's exactly what makes collectibles so engaging. There's also a certain satisfaction in owning something that others have overlooked. It feels like discovering a hidden detail, something that was always there but never fully appreciated. That sense of discovery is part of what drives collectors and enthusiasts. It turns the ordinary into something special. Think about how many hands this coin has passed through. Each person who held it had their own life, their own story, their own reason for using it. In a way, this coin has been a silent companion to countless individuals, playing a small role in their daily experiences. That shared history is something you can't measure, but you can certainly feel. And then there's the passage of time itself. Time changes everything. It alters appearance, it adds wear, it creates uniqueness. Two coins minted in the same year will never age in exactly the same way. Their journeys diverge, their conditions change, and over time, they become distinct from one another. That individuality is what makes each piece special. When you think about it deeply, this coin represents more than currency. It represents movement, exchange, history, and continuity. It is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry meaning far beyond their intended purpose. Now imagine placing this coin in your collection, or even just keeping it as a personal piece. Every time you look at it, you're reminded that value is not always obvious. Sometimes it requires attention, curiosity, and a willingness to look beyond the surface. In today's fast-paced world, where digital transactions dominate and physical money is becoming less common, coins like this are slowly fading from everyday use. That alone increases their appeal. They become artifacts of a different era, tangible reminders of a time when physical exchange was part of daily life. And as they become less common in circulation, their presence becomes more noticeable. What was once everywhere is now becoming rare in everyday experience. That shift changes how we perceive such objects, elevating their importance in subtle but meaningful ways. There's also an emotional connection that can form with objects like this. It might remind someone of a place they've been, a time they remember, or even stories they've heard. That emotional layer adds depth, making the coin more than just a collectible. It becomes personal. Even if you're not a collector, there's something undeniably intriguing about holding onto a piece of history. It gives you a sense of connection, a feeling that you're preserving something that matters, even if in a small way. And let's not forget the element of curiosity. Objects like this invite questions. Where has it been? Who used it? What moments was it part of? Each question leads to another, creating a chain of thought that keeps the object interesting and engaging. Over time, as more people begin to appreciate such items, their desirability grows. What was once ignored becomes sought after, and those who recognized its potential early find themselves holding something truly special. This is how value evolves. It's not always immediate. Sometimes it builds slowly, influenced by perception, scarcity, and appreciation. And when all those elements come together, even the simplest object can take on a new level of importance. So the next time you see a coin like this, don't rush past it. Take a moment to look closer, to think about its journey, its history, and what it represents. Because hidden within that small, unassuming piece of metal is a story that deserves to be noticed. And today, this 1996 South African 1 cent coin is valued at $10,000.